we now talk to OCTA Research Fellow and molecular biologist, Father Nick Austriaco. Good morning, Father Nick. Thanks for taking our call and being with us. Now, we've been seeing this up and down situation when it comes to the number of cases. Father, how would you explain this trend?
Good morning. Basically, what you're seeing here is two trends. The first trend is a decrease in cases, a substantial and significant decrease in cases in the NCR, but that is also being balanced by a rising surge in many of the provinces outside the NCR plus region. So overall, the total number of cases in our country are beginning to drop, but the drop is actually not as significant as you would expect, because the drop in the NCR is being offset by an increase elsewhere in the country.
All right, so when do we expect cases to go down countrywide?
So the cases in the country are already dropping, but they're dropping gradually because of this double trend. What we're seeing here is that in the NCR, we expect the cases to come down quite dramatically. Probably by February, we should be at relatively low numbers. The rest of the country, for example, the city of Cebu is about 2 weeks behind the NCR. So if the trends are comparable, which would be reasonable to expect given similar demographics, the trend in Cebu is that the Omicron surge will peak there hopefully in about a week and a half.
All right, and what are your projections, Father, for Metro Manila? Have we reached the peak already here, and are we going to see this continued downward trend in NCR?
Yeah, so it's very clear that it has peaked in Metro Manila. It looks like it peaked about a week ago, and so it took about 2 weeks to get to the peak. And if we follow the pattern in South Africa, in London, in the United Kingdom overall, we should be the number should be dramatically lower 2 weeks after the peak. So by February, early February or mid-February, and I'm hoping that by that point we can start talking about returning to alert level 2. That will depend upon hospital occupancy at the time.
All right, so you mentioned Cebu, Father. They're about 2 weeks behind Manila. What are your projections for the other regions? Is it going to follow more or less the same trend so that by, as you said, by February, we should see things calming down a bit?
I'm sorry, Pop, but I couldn't hear you. Could you repeat that question?
Yes, Father. You mentioned Cebu as 2 weeks behind Metro Manila. What's your projection for the other regions? Is it going to follow a similar trend?
Yes, so again, the different regions are, their surges began at different points after the NCR. And since the general pattern seems to be a time to peak about 2 weeks after exponential surge, we should see that general pattern in the different provinces as well. Depending upon when they began, it will take 2 to 3 weeks to get to the peak, and about 2 to 3 weeks to come down again. So you're seeing that you have a waves of surges across the country, beginning from the NCR, extending outwards to the rest of the provinces.
Father, what about areas like tourist hotspots like Boracay? What do you see happening there?
Well, again, it's so hard to know specific spots because they're different, they're special. The demographics of a particular region will drive the surge. And I don't have the data in front of me for Boracay, but overall, the Philippines, the rest of the provinces look like they're behaving as one at this time. So, and there was some modeling released over the last week from the University of Washington in Seattle that shows that this surge is just so quick that whenever it begins, it will peak and it will come crashing down.
Right. Yeah, we definitely want to see it come and go as quickly as possible. Father, thank you so much for being with us here on New Day. That was OCTA Research Fellow Father Nick Austriaco.